There were 2 wine glasses in the dishwasher, and I only drink beer. That's not how I wanted to start this story, but I need you to understand something. Sometimes the smallest things scream the loudest. She didn't even bother to rinse them. They were side by side, with lipstick smudges on both. Different colors. Now, I'm not an idiot. I didn't storm into the living room waving them like evidence in a courtroom. I didn't say a word. I just sat on the edge of the bathtub that night, toothbrush still foaming in my mouth, and stared at myself in the mirror for a good 5 minutes like I was trying to remember what my own face looked like before all this. Because you don't fall out of love in one night. But you do start falling out of your mind when reality starts whispering things you're too scared to hear. Maribel had said she was out with her sister. Funny thing about her sister? She lives in Denver. We're in Ohio. So either she took a 9-hour drive on a Tuesday, or she thought I was too dumb to count stemware. It didn't help that she came home that night humming a song I didn't recognize, tossing her heels by the door like she was floating. Like gravity didn't apply to her anymore. Like she was dancing on clouds made of betrayal and wine. You might be thinking, why didn't you say something right then? Because I've said everything already. Over the last 2 years, I've used up every tone, gentle, direct, passive-aggressive, flat-out begging. I've cried in the kitchen. I've sent long texts she never responded to. I even made us a calendar with us, time blocked in. She deleted it from our shared Google account and told me I was being emotionally needy. So now I just watch and take notes and shrink. That night, she curled up next to me like nothing was wrong, her head on my chest, her phone face down on the nightstand. I couldn't sleep. My heart felt like it was trying to punch its way out of my ribs. At 2:43 a.m., I got out of bed and walked downstairs. Not for water, not for air, but because I remembered something. She'd left the Bluetooth speaker on, still connected to someone's Spotify. When I checked the queue, it was filled with songs I'd never heard before. Love songs, new pop, R&B, stuff she used to make fun of. Then I saw the name of the connected device. Jasper's iPhone. We don't know any Jasper. We definitely don't own any Jasper. That was the first night I sat in the garage for hours with the engine off, just trying to make sense of it all. Trying to imagine a version of this story where I wasn't the backup character in my own marriage. I still haven't said a word to her, but I've started keeping track, because she always says she doesn't have time. So I've started saying I don't have money. She wants to go to Tulum with the girls next month? I shrug. Can't swing it right now. She wants a new standing desk for her home office? Let's revisit it next quarter. She wants to invest in couples therapy? Sure, I'll schedule it. Right after I talk to Jasper. I found a hoodie in the laundry basket last week. A gray one. Champion brand. Size large. I wear mediums. At first, I thought maybe it was mine, something old I'd forgotten about, something from college maybe. But I don't wear Champion, and I definitely don't buy clothes that make me look like a toddler trying on his dad's jacket. I asked her casually while she was folding towels, "Hey, whose hoodie is this?" She didn't even look up. Just said, "Oh, must be yours." I nodded like an idiot. Like I hadn't just asked that question. She knows I hate gray. Always have. She used to joke that I looked like a background character in Grayscale when I wore it. But suddenly, now, I'm the proud owner of a hoodie I've never seen, in a color I hate, in a size I don't wear. I left it on the couch. She moved it to the guest room. I moved it back to the basket. She folded it and put it in my drawer. I guess we're both pretending now. That same night, while she was in the shower, I finally gave in and opened her laptop. I've never done that before. It felt like trespassing, like breaking into someone else's apartment. And in a way, I think that's what it was, because whoever she is now, she's not the woman who used to fall asleep with her leg tangled over mine and whisper, "Don't let me drift too far." Her laptop was wide open. No password, but her Chrome was wiped clean. No browsing history. No saved logins. Even the bookmarks bar, gone. Just a blank slate like someone had reset her entire life. Except for one tab left open in the background, a real estate listing in Cincinnati. We live in Dayton. I clicked it. It was a 2-bedroom apartment downtown with exposed brick, hardwood floors, and a view of the river. It was modern, sleek, sterile. No yard. No space for my tools. No room for a dog if we ever got one, like we'd once planned. The listing was marked saved. There was a name on the inquiry form. Not hers. Not mine. Jasper Lowe. I Googled him. Of course I did. And there he was, smiling in a staff photo for a wellness resort chain. Same one she works for. Director of guest experience. Whatever that means. He had perfect teeth and forearms that looked like they knew what artisanal cocktails tasted like. The kind of guy who does sunrise hikes and says things like presence over pressure. Basically the opposite of me. And now apparently the owner of a hoodie in my laundry. I didn't sleep that night. I just laid there, staring at the ceiling, trying to breathe through a chest that felt like it was filled with wet cement. She shifted beside me once, mumbled something about being cold, and tucked herself closer. I didn't move. I felt like a prop, a husband-shaped bookmark while she read other chapters without me. So the next morning, I waited. I watched her get ready. Moisturizer, tinted SPF, that perfume she only wears on meeting days. She hummed while tying her hair back. That same song from the speaker queue. The one from Jasper's iPhone. I asked her if she wanted to have dinner Friday night. Just the two of us, no distractions. She smiled faintly. I don't think I'll have time. Work's intense this week. I nodded. Totally understand. That night, I logged into our joint savings account and transferred half into a new checking account under my name. She doesn't know yet. Because if she doesn't have time, then maybe I don't have money. I used to think of myself as a rational guy. The kind who waits for evidence before jumping to conclusions. That's what I told myself last Thursday night, while sitting in my car outside of the Sagewood Wellness Center, engine off, watching Maribel's text bubble pop up on my phone. Yoga class ran late. I'll be home soon. Except the yoga class had ended 40 minutes ago. I knew that because I'd been parked there for almost an hour, watching people leave. One by one. Mats rolled under their arms. Water bottles clinking. Every time a door opened, warm light spilled out onto the pavement before closing again. The night smelled like cedar chips and wet leaves. By the time the last car backed out of the lot, I was the only vehicle left. Or at least, I thought I was. Across the street, tucked into the shadow of a shuttered bakery, sat a black SUV with tinted windows. It had been idling the whole time, but looked empty. No driver in sight. The headlights were off. Something about it made my neck itch. It was the same kind of car I'd seen parked 2 blocks from our house last week when she ran out for groceries. I'd brushed it off then. Not tonight. At 9:57 p.m., the side door of the yoga studio opened. Maribel stepped out, but she wasn't alone. She was laughing, a laugh I hadn't heard in months, the kind of laugh that used to be reserved for road trips and inside jokes. Walking beside her was a man I'd never seen before in person, but recognized instantly from that staff photo online. Jasper Lowe. Tall, dark hair, rolled up sleeves despite the cold. He had his hand on the small of her back like it belonged there. She didn't shrug it off. They didn't see me. Or maybe they didn't care. They walked across the lot, not toward the main exit where my car sat, but toward the far corner where the black SUV waited. Jasper popped the trunk, loaded her yoga bag inside like a chauffeur, and held the door for her. She climbed in. He circled to the driver's side. My hands were shaking so badly, I almost dropped my phone. I took a picture, blurry, useless. My heart was punching my ribs like it wanted out. This was it. Proof. Not speculation, not a hoodie, not 2 wine glasses. This was flesh and blood, real enough to taste like metal in my mouth. I followed them. Not right away. I let them pull out first, waited a few beats, then eased into traffic behind them. I stayed 3 cars back. It felt like every bad movie I'd ever mocked, except my chest was a furnace and my vision tunneled. They didn't go to a hotel. They didn't go to a restaurant. They drove to a strip of converted warehouses downtown, the kind of place where startup offices share walls with pottery studios and microbreweries. They parked outside a door marked Private Riverfront Lofts. She got out first, Jasper behind her, his hand brushing hers. They used a keypad to get inside. The door closed. The SUV stayed parked. The lot went quiet. I sat there in the dark for nearly an hour, engine off, trying to figure out what I'd just seen. Trying to decide whether to knock on that door, walk inside, blow up my life. Instead, I wrote this post, my thumbs hovering over the screen, erasing and retyping the same sentence. I think my wife is living a second life. The scariest part wasn't her going inside with him. It was realizing how rehearsed she was. The calm way she moved. The practiced timing of her texts. The double life running parallel to mine. All these months of me shrinking and second-guessing, and her building a world I wasn't meant to see. I didn't confront her when she got home. She slipped into bed like nothing had happened. I rolled over and pretended to be asleep. I don't even know why. Maybe because I want to see how far she's willing to go. Or maybe because I'm afraid that if I call it out, it'll be real. Tomorrow she's supposed to leave for a wellness conference in Cincinnati. She asked me to transfer some money from savings for her travel expenses. I told her I'd think about it. She always says she doesn't have time. So I'm going to make sure I don't have money. And for the first time in months, she actually looked scared when I said that. She told me her train left at 10:45 a.m. Said she was headed to the wellness conference in Cincinnati, that same one she claimed was mandatory, even though I couldn't find a single mention of it online. She said she'd be back Sunday night, late, because they were doing a post-event debrief over dinner. She told me not to wait up. Thing is, I never asked any of that. She offered it all like a script, like she'd rehearsed it. When I woke up this morning, she was already dressed, hair done, suitcase by the door. Her coffee was half finished on the counter, still steaming. She looked light. Not happy, exactly, but unburdened. Like she was done pretending to be tired. She kissed me on the cheek, no eye contact, and said, "Wish me luck." Then she left. I stood there for a few minutes, staring at that half-drunk coffee like it might explain something. Then I grabbed my jacket, walked out back, and opened the trash bin. I'd taken it out the night before, full. I knew what was in it. But now, resting on top, was a small, crumpled brochure, Riverfront Lofts, luxury living in the heart of the city. There was a note scribbled on the bottom corner. Unit 3B, key code changed to 8714. I didn't even bother locking the door behind me. I drove straight to the address from a few nights ago, the one where Jasper took her. Parked 2 blocks away this time. Waited. Watched. Her car wasn't there, but a different vehicle pulled up about 20 minutes later. Same suitcase. Same woman. Same, "I'm off to work" expression. She didn't look around. Didn't check her phone. Didn't hesitate. She walked straight up, typed in the code, and disappeared inside. I waited another 5 minutes. Then followed. I know. I shouldn't have. But after what I've seen, the wine glasses, the hoodie, the SUV, the fake yoga, the erased laptop history, I needed more. Something final. Something I couldn't talk myself out of at 2 a.m. when I started to wonder if I was just unraveling because I couldn't handle her being busy, distant, successful. The building smelled like fresh paint and lavender. Quiet halls. No security. Just a keypad on every unit. I walked to 3B. Stood there. Tried to breathe. And then I knocked. Nothing. Knocked again. I don't know what I thought would happen. Maybe Jasper would open the door in a towel, or Maribel would look me in the eye and finally confess, maybe even cry. But nobody answered. So I tried the code. 8714. It worked. The door opened into a space that didn't look like a temporary love nest. It looked lived in. Organized. Matching dishes. Books on the shelf. A plant that someone actually waters. And right there on the kitchen island, a stack of mail, none addressed to her. All of it said Jasper Lowe. There were no pictures of her. No toiletries in the bathroom. No clothes in the second closet. Just a toothbrush in the guest drawer. A hoodie draped over the couch. The same one I found in our laundry. I backed out of that apartment like I'd just tripped into someone else's memory. Because for the first time, it hit me. She's not moving in with him. She's not building a future here. She's visiting. She's hiding. He doesn't know about me, but maybe. She doesn't know everything about him either. That's when it changed. I went home. Sat down. And for the first time since this whole thing started, I didn't cry. I didn't shake. I didn't beg the universe for answers. I opened a new note on my phone. Renamed the old one. It's not called Signs anymore. It's called Proof. And the next entry I'm about to write will be about what I just discovered on our joint credit card. Because Jasper isn't the only man she's been seeing. I spent half the night staring at the credit card dashboard, the one we both have access to, but she thinks I never check. She's right. I didn't, not for years. But now, every time a new charge pops up, it feels like another breadcrumb in a trail I'm too afraid to reach the end of. This one stood out. $287.46. Ticketmaster. Last Saturday. That was the night she claimed she was at her friend Kaylin's birthday. Said it was a low-key wine and movie thing at Kaylin's condo. I even remember asking if I should grab flowers or a bottle of red for her to bring. She said no. Kaylin's allergic to everything. Weird excuse, but fine. The Ticketmaster charge said otherwise. 2 tickets. A concert. Not just any concert. Eli and the Rook, a band we used to follow back when we still drove 2 hours for music festivals and slept in the car because we couldn't afford motels. She cried the first time they played Evergreen Live, said it felt like falling in love. So when I saw the name, I felt my stomach twist. Not just because she went without telling me, but because she took someone else. And worse, she'd been playing that song in the car again. I confirmed it all through a burner account, used a fake email, grabbed a ticket to their next show just to get into the fan forums. Found a post with photos from that exact night. The crowd, the venue, the merch booth. And in the corner of one of the blurry pics, there she was. Her hair, her coat, her hand wrapped around someone else's. It wasn't Jasper. This guy was shorter, stockier, wearing glasses and a ball cap. Definitely not the man from the riverfront loft. At first, I didn't believe it. I kept squinting like the pixels would confess something different. But then I remembered something stupid, a conversation we had last month. I was talking about an old college friend who moved back to town. She brushed past me and said, "You should reach out. People circle back for a reason." Now I think she was talking about herself. I found the guy's face again, zoomed in. Ran a reverse image search. Nothing came up, but I had a gut feeling, and it wasn't wrong. I went through her Instagram. Not her main one. The burner she thinks is private. The one she uses to post artsy coffee shots and cryptic poetry quotes. She follows exactly 27 people there. One of them was a name I hadn't seen in 10 years. Lucas R., old boyfriend. High school sweetheart. The one she claimed was a boy, not a man, when she told me about him on our third date. Apparently, the boy came back. At this point, I know what you're thinking. That I should leave. Confront her. Explode. But I haven't done any of that. Because part of me still believes maybe this isn't what it looks like. That maybe, just maybe, she's chasing ghosts because something broke inside her and not because she stopped loving me. But the deeper part of me, the quiet, tired part, knows that's a lie I tell myself so I don't have to do anything real. Instead, I did something else. I bought a ticket to the same wellness conference in Cincinnati she's supposedly at. Reserved under a fake name, paid in cash. I won't go in, not yet. I just want to see if she's actually there. If she walks into the conference hall, or if she disappears into another hallway, another room, another version of herself I don't recognize anymore. I don't have a plan. I'm not brave. I'm not clever. I'm not even angry in the way people expect me to be. But I'm watching now. And the next time she tells me she's too busy to talk, I might just respond with a photo. Because if she gets to live multiple lives without consequence, maybe it's time I try it too. She said she'd be staying at the Marlowe for the 3-day wellness summit. I nodded like I believed her, and she left without asking why I didn't kiss her goodbye. Maybe she thought I was too tired. Maybe she didn't care. The Marlowe isn't a wellness resort. It's a boutique hotel in Cincinnati with a rooftop bar and soundproof suites. I know because I booked a room there myself, 3 floors above hers. Different name, different card, different everything. I checked in early. Wore a baseball cap low over my eyes. Carried a duffel bag with nothing but a notebook, a hoodie, and a second phone. I didn't know exactly what I planned to do, only that I needed to see her without her seeing me. Her room was 412. I requested 734, top corner of the South Tower. From there, I had a diagonal line of sight to her window. It felt ridiculous at first, like I was auditioning for a role in my own mental breakdown. But when she opened the curtains around 5:30 p.m., everything inside me went still. She looked calm, not rushed, not stressed, not like someone buried in presentations and workshops. She was wearing that navy dress she only saves for important events. She poured herself a drink. Something clear. Vodka, maybe. She didn't bring her laptop to the window. No conference materials, no badges. Just her phone. She smiled at it, typed something, waited. And then, at 5:47, she opened the door. He walked in. It wasn't Jasper. It wasn't Lucas. It was someone I'd never seen before. Taller than me. Late 40s. Clean-shaven. He had the kind of posture people develop after decades of being listened to. She kissed him on the cheek. He touched her wrist like he'd done it 100 times. They disappeared deeper into the room. Curtains still open. I should have looked away. I didn't. They didn't do anything explicit. YouTube won't flag this. But the intimacy? It was more violent than anything physical. The way she smiled at him. The way she laughed like she was 16 again. That laugh used to belong to me. Now it was rented out. I sat on the edge of the bed in my own room, staring at a blinking cursor on my burner phone. I almost sent a message. Almost dialed her number. Almost walked out of the room, down 4 flights of stairs, and knocked on her door just to see what she would do. But I didn't. Instead, I started writing down every lie she'd ever told me in that hotel notebook. Every time she said she was tired, every time she turned away from me in bed, every time she left with a suitcase packed like she had somewhere urgent to be. I wrote down the wine glasses, the hoodie, the concert, the password changes, the 4 a.m. showers, the missing toothbrush, all of it. Because now it wasn't just infidelity. It was something else. A pattern. A system. She wasn't cheating with one man. She was collecting identities. Versions of herself she could perform in front of different people. Jasper got the ambitious, outdoorsy guru. Lucas got the nostalgic high school flame. And this new one? He got the refined, thoughtful professional with the soft eyes and expensive scent. And me? I got what was left after she peeled all those versions off. I didn't sleep that night. At 2:12 a.m., her window went dark. At 3:07, I saw the man leave. She never looked out. Never noticed the figure standing 6 stories above her, watching. In the morning, I checked out quietly. Left no trace. No confrontation, no scene. Just vanished. On the drive home, I passed the old coffee shop where we had our first date. The place she once called our little time machine. I parked across the street, engine running, and stared at it until I couldn't anymore. I wanted to go inside. Wanted to ask the barista if I looked like a man being erased. But instead, I drove home. She got back Sunday night, like she said she would. Same fake yawn. Same, you wouldn't believe how boring it was. Same suitcase with perfectly folded clothes. And then she said it, offhand, while putting her phone on the charger. Babe, we should take a weekend trip soon. Just the two of us. Like old times. I stared at her. She smiled. I nodded. Because she doesn't know what I know now. She thinks I'm still shrinking. But I've started building something too. A life she doesn't see. A version of myself that's not dependent on her approval, her attention, or her stupid made-up yoga schedule. And next time she disappears, I won't follow her. I'll be too busy leaving. I've stopped asking her where she's going. Stopped pretending I care what time she'll be back, or if her strategy sessions spill into dinner, or why she's suddenly meditating every Thursday evening at a studio that doesn't exist. The silence she built between us used to feel like a punishment. Now it's become my workspace. I've started planting things. Quiet things. Like the receipt from a women's boutique I never visited, placed deliberately on my desk. Not hidden. Not flaunted. Just visible enough to be noticed if she's paying attention, which she isn't. The total was small. Believable. The kind of receipt a man doesn't even think about crumpling. I left it sitting there for 5 days. She never asked. Then I changed my phone background to a photo of a skyline she didn't recognize. Not a stock photo, but one I pulled from a friend's trip to Vancouver. I waited for her to ask about it. She looked at my screen twice that week while I was scrolling recipes. Still nothing. So I kept going. I started humming in the kitchen. A tune she didn't know. I changed my shampoo. Started texting someone named RJ at night and smiling at my phone when she walked past. There is no RJ. Just a blank contact and a draft thread full of nothing. The point wasn't to make her jealous. It was to see if she was watching me the way I watched her. She wasn't. That was the real betrayal. Not the men. Not the lies. Not the hotel rooms, or the yoga nights, or the extra toothbrush that still sits in the guest bathroom drawer. It was the fact that she never looked back. She stopped studying me. Stopped wondering who I was becoming while she was becoming someone else for everyone but me. So I've been documenting everything. Still writing it all down. Every timestamp, every lie, every sideways glance. I even bought a voice recorder. Old school, I know. But there's something satisfying about hearing the click of the button before I leave it running in the glove compartment or under the couch cushions when she has phone calls in the other room. The things she says when she thinks I'm not listening, they don't sound like her. They sound like a character she rehearses for other people. She tells someone, probably Jasper, maybe Lucas, maybe someone new, that she feels trapped by expectations and that I've become dependent on her energy. She says things like, he's a good man, but I don't feel anything anymore. She still sleeps in our bed, still kisses my cheek, still wears the ring. But now I wear something too, a knowing. And the knowing has power. I've started building a life she doesn't know about. A private savings account, a second phone, a legal consult under a friend's name. I found a short-term lease on a quiet street just north of the city, furnished month to month. I haven't signed it yet. I just visit sometimes, like a man pressing on a bruise to see if it still hurts. Sometimes I sit on the porch there for an hour and don't speak to anyone. Sometimes I write letters I never send. Once, I brought a bag of groceries there and cooked dinner, just to see if I still remembered how to feel full. That place is silent too, but it's a different silence. It doesn't hum with betrayal. It doesn't feel like the absence of love, just the presence of space. Air. Time. Thought. She doesn't know I go there. She thinks I've been staying late at the library, working on sound edits, taking long walks to clear my mind. And maybe I am. But what she doesn't realize is that I'm not planning revenge. I'm planning disappearance. Because the truth is, I don't want to catch her anymore. I don't want the final proof. I don't want the confrontation. What I want is for her to wake up one day and find me gone, every drawer empty, every password changed, every trace of me erased. I want her to ask herself where I went. And I want her to know, deep down, in a place she can't admit out loud, that she never noticed I was leaving. Not because I was quiet, but because she stopped listening. I left on a Monday. Not dramatic. Not cinematic. No suitcase at the door. No loud arguments or voicemail confessions or shattered plates. I just woke up before the sun, put on the same hoodie I wore the day we moved into this house, and left the keys on the kitchen table. There was a note, one sentence, handwritten on lined paper. You stopped seeing me, so I started building a life where I existed. That's all. No accusations. No guilt trip. Just the truth. A truth I had finally stopped running from. I didn't check her location. Didn't care where she was that morning. Maybe she was with Jasper. Or Lucas. Or Mr. Rooftop. Maybe she was alone. It didn't matter anymore. I'd spent too long clinging to a version of her I'd memorized, not realizing she'd been rewriting herself in real time. And I had stopped writing altogether. But not anymore. I drove to the little place north of the city, the one with the creaky porch and the ugly couch and the smell of someone else's coffee grounds in the cupboards. It didn't feel like home. Not yet. But it felt possible. I unpacked slowly, one drawer at a time. I set up my laptop on the kitchen table, bought a houseplant, gave it a name, Simon, watered it, watched it not die. The first few nights were quiet in the way that makes you question every choice. I kept expecting to hear her keys in the door, her voice from the hallway, her perfume floating through the room like muscle memory. But silence gets softer if you let it. It goes from echo to space, from loneliness to clarity. I started sleeping better. I started waking up early, just to walk. I started eating real meals. They weren't good, but they were mine. I deleted the proof note from my phone, burned the paper copies, got rid of the burner accounts. I didn't want to carry her betrayal with me like some badge of survival. I didn't want revenge. I didn't even want closure. I just wanted distance, the kind you can't measure in miles. And then something strange happened. I started smiling at strangers again. I started taking freelance gigs I used to think I wasn't good enough for. I even did live audio mixing at a local storytelling event downtown. First time in years I felt nervous in a good way. A woman with curly hair and a denim jacket asked me afterward if I wanted to get coffee. I said yes. Not because I was trying to replace Maribel, but because I wasn't scared of being seen anymore. I don't know what she thought when she found the empty closet and the quiet fridge and the one-sentence note. She never called. Never texted. Maybe she was relieved. Maybe she was confused. Maybe she never thought I'd actually leave. I used to think that would haunt me. But it doesn't. Because I didn't leave to punish her. I left to return to myself. There's peace in choosing your own name again. There's power in realizing that being the quiet one doesn't mean being the weak one. And there's healing, slow, imperfect, but real, in building something new from the wreckage. Last night, I played Evergreen again. The old Eli and the Rook track. The one we used to claim as our song. And for the first time in years, I listened to it all the way through without feeling like I'd been hollowed out. It's not her song anymore. It's mine again.